All right, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy Crypt here. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I felt like ranking all the NF albums. Now that Hope has been out for a couple weeks, we can slide it in amongst the other albums and see where it ranks up in my personal preference. So there's a total of 9 either albums or EPs from NF. I think only 6 of them are on Spotify, maybe 7 of them. Kind of had to dig back into the old YouTube archives to find some of the other albums. But I'm going to rank them from my least favorite to my favorite. I'm not ranking them from worst to best. I know that doesn't really make all that much sense, but I just want to preface by saying just because maybe one of your favorite albums is number 7 or number 6, it doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that I would rather listen to some other albums before that album. So, we clear? All right. Glad we're clear. Shout out to the homies over at Manscaped for sponsoring the channel. If you use code CRYPT20, you can get literally anything on the website for 20% off and free worldwide shipping. I recommend the body buffer on the screen right now. Really scrubs out all your pores. It's cheap, and it helps me out a ton if you decide to do that. But all right, coming in at number 9, I have his technical first album that he doesn't really count. It's not on Spotify. It's only on YouTube. It is Moments. With this album, you can really tell that he's just kind of trying to find a sound. There's a lot of really heavy Eminem-style influence in this, but there's like heavy auto-tune on a lot of tracks as well, and obviously the production is just, it doesn't hold a candle to what he does nowadays. A lot of the beats sound like they were recorded off of a phone into a microphone in a studio somewhere. The mixing on his voice and stuff, it's just, you can tell it's very early beginner stuff, and it's really the only place to put it on this list. But I think it is super cool to be able to go back and look and see where an artist starts, and you can see that some artists just start in a really shitty position and then they end up making masterclass albums just 5 or 6 years later. Like, the progression can happen that quick. Coming in at number 8, I have his EP called I'm Free. This is also another one that's not on Spotify anywhere, that you gotta go into the YouTube archives to find. I'm assuming this is right around the time he first got with Capital, or maybe right before it when he was really in the Christian rap era. A lot of the songs on this album are faith-based and talking about his struggle with faith, which is something that I've always been able to relate to in music. And the writing on this is there. Like, you can really hear bits and pieces of like some seriously good writing from NF. But again, it just kind of goes back to, it's early. Like, he still doesn't have the means of production. He still hasn't really found his voice yet. He hasn't found his style yet. He's just not NF yet. I will say though, I do like the song Alone. I think that is the first real bit of magic that we have in these first 2 albums, that you can see it. You can see that NF is behind this song. Like, it's about to happen. Coming in at number 7, we have NF the EP, which is the first one that you can find on Spotify, and I think half the songs are actually on the first technical Spotify album of Mansion. But the jump from I'm Free to NF the EP is astounding. I think they're only 2 years apart, maybe 3 years apart, but you can really see that he just put his nose to the grindstone and absolutely worked on who he was and how to make music. The song Thing Called Love is really cool. I like the way that he sings on the chorus of that with the feature. I can't remember who the feature is off the top of my head, but they sound phenomenal together. And I think I historically like when NF sings with a woman on a chorus and they like match each other beautifully, because he's got this nice tenor voice when he sings and it just matches a female voice. It just always sounds really good to me. This also has the song All I Have, which he actually rapped about on Hope. So it's cool to see him acknowledging some older songs, and I feel like this might be where he like mentally and publicly admits, maybe this is where I started as a rapper. Like, the other 2 is just me trying to find some stuff, but the NF EP, that's where NF starts. That's where you can start my discography if you want to see me grow as an artist. But now we get into the good stuff. This is where the decision making took a long time to make this list. The first ones are easy. Like, those are pretty easy to put in order of least favorite to favorite, but now it's just any given day. Honestly, some of this could switch, but today, this is what the list falls at. At number 6, I have Mansion, which is hard because his song Mansion, I think, is arguably top 5 NF songs ever created. And there are some really good songs on this. Paralyzed is on there, which I think is one of his biggest songs. This is where we see the very first intro and him really starting to rap to himself and his darker side, which creates a really awesome story arc throughout his career. But it also starts the triple saga that we got of the intro songs, which arguably got better as they went along. I also really love the song Can You Hold Me? And there's several other songs on here that are just really easy songs to listen to. And I think this is a really good start for his first commercial album, technically on Spotify. And you can really see the foundation of NF as an artist throughout these songs. But again, he still doesn't fully have his voice on this. Some of the beat selections are, you can tell he's trying to go along with what sounded good at the time. Some of the mixing was a little wishy-washy on some of the songs, more specifically on Motivated. I actually really like that song. I know a lot of people don't like that song. It's kind of a more rock style NF song, but there was a lot of distortion in the vocals on that one. I really noticed that when I went back and listened to this, and there just wasn't as many layers to the production as we see now in his music. Obviously, I mean, there's not gonna be, because you elevate as an artist and you evolve, but as much as it does hurt me, that's where it falls, even though I love those Song Mansion so much. Coming in at number 5, I actually have the Clouds EP, which surprised me because I listen to this thing all the time, and I think the only reason I have this at 5 and not a lot higher is because it's an EP. There's not really a storyline to the album. There's not a really cool introduction. There's not a finale like there is on his other albums. And that's what really makes me love albums, is the story that you hear across the whole project. But Clouds has some absolutely dope songs. Like I said, I literally listen to this album all the time. I always said that my dream collabs for an album, for me personally, would be to have Hobson and Tech-9 as my 2 features, and that's it. And then the man went and did it. The man literally got the 2 features that I would dream to have on a project. And both of those songs are phenomenal. But the song Clouds was crazy. The music video was crazy. Story was on there, which I think is one of his most underrated things that he's ever done. Now, he does have some songs on here that I do kind of skip. I don't listen to Drifting that much. I don't listen to Layers that much because of the end of Layers and how choppy it got. But all in all, this is just a really dope album that I fucking love, which tells you a lot about this list because we got 4 more albums to go through. Coming in at number 4, I put Therapy Session, which again, is just weird because I feel like there's almost 2 top 5 NF songs on this with How Could You Leave Us and Therapy Session. Both of those songs are just mind-blowing to me. Lost in the Moment is a really cool song. I really like Oh Lord as well. There's just a lot of really cool songs on here, and like, if you listen to this album compared to some of the EP stuff just a few years earlier, you wouldn't even think it's the same artist, honestly. I like to think of this album almost as Mansion but fine-tuned. The production got better, his voice style got better, his writing got better. Like, everything that was there in Mansion, the foundation that was there as NF, he grabbed onto all of it and just really tightened it in and made it concise, and is really starting to make it work here. Coming in at number 3, I actually have his newest album, Hope, and I don't think a lot of you guys are going to particularly care for that, but it's my list. I want to see your list in the comments, and I know a ton of people in my reactions were saying that Hope is his best album. But here's the thing, obviously Hope has only been out for 3 weeks, so it hasn't had the time to really settle in and see if it stands the test of time. It doesn't have that luxury that the other albums have. What I will say is that I don't think this album has any skips. It doesn't have any full song skips. There's parts of songs that I would like to skip, but it doesn't have, like, a song comes on, I'm like, I don't want to listen to that, and I'll move on. I love seeing the positive direction that he's heading with his music, and the production on this, his voice, everything. Again, it's just a culmination of all these years of him finding his stuff boiled down to a T, and it's all there. It is absolutely there and sounds great. But maybe in a few months I can come back and make another video, and this could absolutely change, because again, it just doesn't have the luxury of time that the other albums have had to really settle on me. Coming in at number 2, I have Perception. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it was a very close battle for me between 2 and 3 with Hope and Perception. I really flip-flopped them a lot when I made this list, but I just kept going back and looking at the track list of Perception, and it's like, oh my god, that song, oh my god, that song too? How does that on that song too? All these songs are on this album? You forget how many amazing songs were on that album. Outcast, which might be one of my favorite rap songs from NF. Intro 3, which was hands down the best intro in an awesome finale to the intro saga. Obviously, Let You Down is on there, and it's his biggest song of all time. If You Want Love is there, Remember This, Green Lights, Lie, which is one of his most underrated songs ever. It just blows my mind that you can have that many hits on one album. I really don't have any gripes about this album at all. I don't skip any songs on it. The only one I might skip is Let You Down, just because it was overplayed like hell for everybody. So obviously that leaves my number 1 album with The Search. This is just a masterclass to me. I think this is one of the best albums made by any artist ever. The storytelling throughout this album, the amount of emotion that you can hear through it, the amount of songs that you can latch onto, it's unparalleled to me. We have The Search, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, whenever I saw that there wasn't an intro 4 on this track list, I was kind of bummed because I was excited for that, but then The Search replaced that, and it was way better than any of the intros. That is my favorite rap track. I know I said the Outkast was one of my favorites. That one is. The Search is the best rap track that he's ever put out. But then you got Leave Me Alone. You got When I Grow Up, and When I Grow Up was one of my favorite NF songs for a very long time. You got Change, Why, I Miss the Days, Only, No Excuses, Trauma, Nate. There's just absolutely zero skips, and I mean zero skips. There's not a single part of any song that I would skip on this album. There's so much fluidity in his voice. He just sounds amazing. He's really expressing himself on every song. The production is dope. There's a lot of singing. There's a lot of rapping. There's just a lot of everything that everybody could enjoy. And it's a long album too. I think it ended up with 20 songs, 19 because Time is on there twice. One is an edited version. But there's just so much to latch onto as a fan and as somebody who uses music as therapy. And that's it, man. That album does it for me. But that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Please comment your rankings down below. I want to look at those and see how you guys rank these albums. Remember, music is subjective, okay? We all love NF, all right? We just love NF in a different way. So comment those. I'm excited to see them. And that's it for this one. Love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Time to set the record straight. You and me, we ain't nothing alike. Let's set the record straight. Those words you say, they hold no weight, they like. Let's set the record straight. You'll never break the man before your eyes. Let's set the record straight. Set it straight. Set it straight. Time to set the record straight. You and me,